Alrighty, I got something a little different for you today. So today we're going to be diving into some data analysis on the germination data that we have so far for the cotton plants. This is my master data sheet that I'm working with. So here's the actual master with data points for all plants across all time in some form of codified manner so that, I can understand it. And maybe someone else potentially could understand it, but I doubt that. So what you see here is the plant history worksheet, which is, the status of each plant from planting to death. So as you can see here, the orange stuff are seeds that failed to come up, and red stuff are plants that have died for one reason or another. And if we go over here, we have a grid of sorts that displays the status of all the plants in the plot. This is not set up with any sort of code. I am just manually doing this with colors. I should probably set up some sort of code for that. But at the moment, I'm just doing that manually because, this is not going to change with any frequency, and I can just, copy and paste it all and then set column sizes and then just have multiple of these as I go. But for the moment, that's just a manual thing that I'm doing. But what we're looking at today is this right here. This here is my current results that I have for the cotton plants. So as you can see here, I have the total number of seeds planted and the total number of germinations I have, and I have these split up by the depth they were planted at. This here is 19E, which is sort of at a random depth, but I've estimated it at 3/4 of an inch deep, and it's just been segregated out of here because it's an outlier, and it's really only here to add to the total value here and here, as well as down here. So far we do have some interesting preliminary results. The biggest two things of interest here is the average days to germination, as well as the median. Just these are paired together. One median complements average. But the biggest thing to note here is the average day column for these four, as well as the percentage of germination. What I find most interesting is that the seeds at 1/4 of an inch deep are the most likely to germinate. We had 92% germination on 1/4 inch seeds, which I was not expecting. And we only had 73% germination at 2 and 1 inch seeds, and we had 84% at 1/2 inch seeds. So that seems to show a direct correlation, or a direct negative correlation between depth and likelihood of germination. However, conversely, sort of conversely, we can see here that with the average and median days to germination, that the seeds planted much deeper were much sooner in germinating than the plants that were closer to the surface, with this outlier of the 1 inch seeds taking the longest out of any subset to germinate, and the 1/2 and 1/4 inch taking basically the same amount of time. And also to note over here are the minimum days. The minimum days required until germination was 10 for both 2 and 1 inch plants, but it was 18 for 1/2 inch plants and 14 for 1/4 inch. And the maximum over here seems to indicate a similar pattern, with once again the 1 inch plants being the outlier, with the last plant to germinate taking 25 days. And looking back over here, the total germination rate was about 80%, which is what I said. It's a little closer to 81, but we're just going to round down to 80 because it's nice and even. Plus, some of those were sketchy germinations anyway. So we had 169 of 209 seeds germinate. And if we look down here at seedling mortality, we don't have any usable numbers. As you can see here, I excluded 4 seedling mortalities from this data set because those were all plants that I inadvertently killed. I was uncovering seedlings when they were under quite a deal of turgor pressure, and the stems just snapped whenever just touching them, not even moving the plant, just bumping into it with my fingernail caused them to just split in half. So I learned my lesson there. But as you can see, there does not appear to be any increased mortality due to non-TOM induced reasons between the different seed depths. And overall, we've only had a 5% mortality. That's about 7.5 if you throw in those other 4. Well, not quite 7, something like that. So that's all I wanted to show today, was just that I've done some amount of preliminary data analysis with the germination, and it has interesting results. Quarter-inch seeds appear to germinate much more reliably. However, the plants that do germinate at 2 inches come up much sooner. And I think most of that has to do with available soil moisture. I did not water these seeds early on because I was trying to avoid frost damage. And I believe the seeds at 2 inches got sufficient water in order to induce germination. They were also warmer longer. So they stayed warmer at night at that depth than the seeds near the surface. So although the seeds near the surface got hotter during the day, they did not stay hot. They cooled off at night, and that may have impeded germination. But I think most of it had to do with ambient soil moisture. So that was all I had today. Nothing else exciting. Just crunching numbers. Good old data analysis. I think the next thing you're going to see is my cotton gen. I know I keep promoting it, but I keep getting the hang-ups. I'm still waiting on Chinese gears. It's taking them forever. But that's the next thing you'll see. Tom out.